Hey everyone, and welcome to part 4 of this trophy and achievement guide for Metaphor ReFantazio. This is going to be a very packed episode. We've got a lot to do. We're going to get some new followers, get some new archetypes, complete a couple dungeons, and get a few new trophies. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. In the last episode, we finished out the month of June, so we start now on July 1st in the afternoon. The first thing that we want to do is to fast travel over to the Gauntlet Runner. So pull up your map with the R1 or the right bumper button and choose to go to the Gauntlet Runner. And then we're going to go into the pantry to get our free cooking supplies for the day. I happen to get some mellow milk and some fragrant spice, but what you get could be completely different because it is a bit random. And now we're going to fast travel back to Martira. In particular, we want to go over to Thoroughfare Square. So go ahead, pull up your map, and then choose to fast travel over there. Once you get to town, run forward through the gate and over toward the right side. You want to look for the man sitting down over here. This is Cuculus. He's the one who gave us the quest to go to the abandoned tomb. We'll talk to him and we will end up completing that quest, and we have to spend the day with him. So let's go ahead and choose to do that. We will complete his quest called A Ring, a Dagger, and a Rake. We're going to get some more Reeve as well as some courage for doing this, 4 points of courage to be exact. And after that, then we'll have some more cutscenes that play out, and when that's all completed, we're going to get a new follower with him, and his real name, it turns out to be Alonzo. So we actually now have rank 1 of Alonzo, which grants us access to a new archetype called the Faker. So that's going to be found on the right side of the archetype tree on one of the hands. Because we spent time with Alonzo, it's now going to be nighttime on July 1st. We want to fast travel back to Grand Trad. To do that, press the map button twice to go back to the world map, and now we can select Royal Capital Grand Trad, and we want to go to Sunlumio Street. After teleporting over there, we're going to get on our sword and go straight ahead north down the road, and then stick over toward the right side because we're going to spend some time with Brigitta over here. So choose to spend the night with Brigitta, and then you'll not only complete more of her side story, but also you're going to get up to a new rank with her, and this is rank 3. We get to inherit one more skill when we have the Merchant archetype equipped, and we also get the Merchant's Rate ability, which increases the exchange rate of Mag to Reeve when we use the Mag Vendor. But really, we never do that, so that doesn't matter so much. It's now July 2nd in the afternoon. Let's fast travel back to the Gauntlet Runner. And once we're here, we're going to make a little change to our party composition to get ready for the next couple fights. We want to go into the menu to the archetype tree, and we're going to switch Hulkenberg from her current Merchant archetype to the Mage archetype, which is found in the upper right corner. So choose the Mage. It's okay that she's just level 1 or rank 1 right now, because we'll be ranking her up very soon. Once you choose to study the Mage archetype for 450 mag, you'll get a short cutscene that plays out, and then you can equip her with the best equipment that we have available. Now let's look at Stroll. We want him to still be equipped with the Warrior archetype, but we want to make sure that we inherit both the Bot and the Blizz spells from the Mage archetype. Make sure that he has access to both fire and ice elements. As for the protagonist, we have 2 new archetypes that we can teach him. We're going to teach him the Merchant archetype first, and after we study that one for 2,250 mag, then we're going to study the other archetype that we just unlocked, which is going to be the Faker archetype, which is found on the right side. This is going to be a little bit more expensive, coming in at a total mag cost of 2,500 mag. Once you study that, though, then we're going to switch him back over to what he was using, and that's going to be the Seeker archetype. And once again, make sure that you inherit both a fire and an ice spell for him. So get the Seeker archetype equipped. It does not cost any mag whatsoever to re-equip something that you've already chosen to study, and like I said before, make sure that you have both ice and fire available to you. So everyone should have fire available right now, and then after we get to rank 1 with the Mage, Hulkenberg will also have access to ice. Let's go ahead and go to the round table, choose the route to map option, and we're going to chart a course for a new destination, and that's going to be the Sandworm nest straight to the north of us, the giant sandworm's nest. It takes 2 days to get there, which means that we're going to have a little bit of time while we're on the Gauntlet Runner to do some things with our party members. Let's start by leaving the navigation room and going to the pantry, which is just down the hall and on our right. At this point, I got a couple things, some rock beans as well as some gauntlet shrooms. Very good to get gauntlet shrooms. We definitely want to see that pop up as much as possible. And then after that, we're going to go and spend some time with Stroll. If we talk to him and spend the time with him, then we will be increasing our courage. He's going to have a conversation with us and we'll get to make a choice for one of his questions. What you want to do is to use option 3, it's feeling. That's the correct answer to this question. You'll get a good amount of mag as well as 4 points of courage for answering that question correctly. Then after that, you're going to automatically find yourselves in the Midnight Sun Sands. This is just a time where you can talk to your party members. It doesn't matter so much what you say, but you'll still get 4 points of wisdom anyway, and you're going to get a new drawing. Once that's over, you're going to be forced into a battle against Catherina. Now, even though she's one of our followers, she also is a rival for us. So we're going to attack her using only fire spells because that is her weakness. So everyone can use the bot spell and just do this 5 or 6 times. You should be able to defeat her on the very first round of combat without her ever getting to attack you. It's very simple when you get to attack so many times in one turn with their weakness. It makes it very, very easy to win this battle.
Observe the enemy. Let justice prevail. Oh, mystic fire! You have it alive.
And there you go, that's a pretty easy fight. It was even an unscathed triumph for a boss battle. And then we get our protagonist up to level 21. It looks like our strength stat is starting to fall behind a little bit, so I'm going to boost that up by giving the extra point into strength. And we also got the mage archetype on Hulkenberg to level up, and that was good because then we get access to the Blizz spell, so now it has access to the ice element. After that, there's some more cutscenes, and we get a new follower rank with Catherina. This is rank 2, and it will now cost less when we study the Brawler archetype. We now move on to July 2nd at nighttime. What we want to do is to go forward and grab the bug on top of the fire just in front of us. This one's blue, which means it's a Luma Bee. That's exactly what I wanted to see. I've already gotten a couple Dream Eater moths, but the Luma Bee is very nice. And now we're going to spend some time with Neuras. We'll make some more progress to one of our royal virtues. In this case, it's going to be the wisdom one, and we're going to get 4 points into that. And that's going to conclude the nighttime portion. There's going to be some more story cutscenes that I'm going to skip. And then on June 3rd in the afternoon, you will automatically be put into a fight. This enemy is weak to the ice element, so just like the Catherina fight we just had, we're going to focus on casting the spells that it's weak to. In this case, it's going to be the Blizz spell. So just have everyone cast this over and over again, and by the end of your first round of combat, you should be able to defeat it. You actually don't have to get its health all the way down, it just has to go down most of the way, and then there will be a cutscene that plays out, and you'll be moving on from here. So I'll just let the rest of this fight play out for a few seconds, and I'll see you after those cutscenes.
I call upon royal power within.
We now find ourselves inside the giant Sandworm's belly. This is a one-time only dungeon, so make sure you get all the items in here before you leave. There is one item in the room where you start, and there's also going to be Moore's cat here. We're going to make a record real quick, and then we're going to go over to this weird thing, and we're going to destroy it, which is going to open up the path before us. There's going to be some cutscenes that play out once you run through here, and you'll see that we're on a 15-minute timer. Let's quickly go down the path and then over toward the right side. We can attack the enemies, making sure that they don't hit us and ambush us. And then when we get into the squad-based battle, we'll see 2 new enemies. The red ones are going to be weak to the ice element, so hit them with something like Blizz. And then the weird purple things with the tendrils, they're weak to slash damage, so use your warrior to use diagonal slash against them and they'll be dead right away. So this fight's very easy. Keep in mind that the timer keeps counting down inside the battles too, so don't waste any time in this dungeon because there's a lot to do and not a lot of time to do it in.
Our foes
After that fight, we're going to go immediately to the north and grab this item, and then go over toward the west. There's going to be a path that you can break down these things and get through, and then grab a chest over here.
You're so lucky.
This dungeon basically has two paths. There's a left path and a right path. We want to stay on the left side because that gives us the best advantage. So let's go forward and defeat all of these enemies. Sometimes you'll get groups of 2 of these purple enemies, and because we have the Seeker, we also have the ability to use Sweeping Slash to hit their weakness with the Seeker as well as the Warrior. So whether it's a group of purple enemies or other enemies that are weak to an elemental spell, we can take them out no problem with our current party setup. Let's keep making our way north along the path, taking out all the enemies along the way, and then we're going to take out this purple enemy using the same tactics as before. I'm just going to skip the fights that are repeating from this point on. We'll go forward, grabbing all the items along the way, taking out the enemies, and then what we want to do is to keep going past all of this large group of slime enemies. They go down pretty quickly, and when that's done, there's going to be a path off to the right side. It's a little bit of a fork here. You need to break your way through this gate, and then you can go through and grab this treasure chest at the back. Now that you've got that, we'll backtrack to the main path, and there's going to be one of those blob things that you can destroy, and that's going to open up the path in front of us, and that will let us go to the back room of this pathway. So now that that's done, we're going to keep going forward. We don't want to destroy this one because that will automatically take us into the next section. Instead, we want to turn right and start working our way back down south toward the path on the right side of the map. Take out the enemies along the way and grab the items as you traverse toward the south. There's going to be a bit of a swamp area in this place too, which is a little bit trickier, but I do have a couple tips to get you through that pretty easily. So we're going to head down into the swampy part. You move very slowly normally, but if you use the roll or dodge button, you're able to actually make up a lot of ground very quickly here. So go through this whole area, look at your mini map to collect all of the blue dots around here. Keep in mind that the whole time you're down in this digestive juice area, you're going to be taking damage, so be very mindful of that. Don't let your health run out. If you start to get low, use one of your healing spells, but you really should be able to make it through here before that becomes a problem. Now let's start going north along the path. On the far right side, there's going to be one of these red Elmentas, which are weak to ice damage. Luckily, all of our party members have the Blizz spell, so hit it with a couple Blizzes until it's destroyed, and then we'll move on.
Your opening, Captain.
Power of ice!
You hit their weak point. Keep it up. Blade in hand. What a finale! Keep your energy up, everyone.
Even easier than expected.
At this point, it looks like Hulkenberg's mage ranked up, and we get access now to the lightning element as well. Let's keep going north along this path, being careful not to be hit by the green goo being sprayed out by these flower-looking things. Just keep going all the way north, collecting the items along the way. And when you get all the way up to the north part, you'll see that we've collected everything in this area, and now we're safe to go all the way to the far north side and exit out the area. All we have to do is run forward, destroy this blob thing in front of the door, and once it's destroyed, it will open the door, allowing us to go forward and into the next area.
Onward.
We had 15 minutes to get through the first area, and we get 12 minutes to get through the second area. So let's go straight ahead, and there's going to be some more enemies along our path. We'll destroy them quickly, and then we're going to once again stick over toward the left-hand side and go up the path over there. We're going to encounter a new enemy who's pretty tough. Let's go ahead and fight him. This is another one of the human-type enemies named Homo. These guys can be pretty annoying because they begin the battle by using something called Fishy Fandango, which greatly increases their ability to dodge you, and they also might debuff you so that you are now less likely to hit them. I figured this out later on. They're actually weak to the fire element, so use Bot. I use Cyclo because it's medium strength, and I thought maybe that could do some good damage, but he resists it. As the warrior, I use Slicer, and that did quite a bit of damage. I got lots of hits off of that. I thought being a fish would be weak to electricity, but actually I just missed that one instead. I should have used Bot with the mage. It uses its turn to attack with the ice element, which is a good indication that it's probably weak to fire. And now I'm going to finish off the turn with another Cyclo. I know that that worked pretty well the first time and doing lots of damage to it. Even though it resists it, I've got some pretty good magic stats and that thing is gone. And we get some pretty generous rewards for defeating this. I also got my warrior up to rank 13, and it learns a critical strike. It has a low chance of hit, but whenever it does, it is a critical hit. There's some more cutscenes that play out after that, and then we get control of our character once again. Let's keep going north along the path, and we're going to get to the end part here. Before you destroy that weird blob thing, go over to the right and get the treasure chest down the path with all the bones that you have to break. And now we'll go back up and over toward the right. We'll destroy that blob, and that will give us access to the back part of this second area.
Great.
We head through the newly opened door, destroying the monsters in the back part of this room. Once again, we're not going to take out the blob in the back. We're going to make our way south down the right-hand path, and we're going to defeat all the enemies along the way. Many of those purple enemies are now facing the other direction, letting us attack them from the back. It's pretty convenient, getting us some good critical strikes and instantly breaking their stagger gauge. There's also going to be a red Elementa over here. Let's destroy him with a couple Blizz spells and then keep on going forward. If you look at the map, you see that the right-hand side branches off in a few different ways. We just want to go all the way to the most southern point, and then we'll be able to take those branches one by one. So destroy all the monsters along the path, go all the way down to the end, and then turn toward the left. There's going to be a small path going up here, and then we're going to get the two items here. Let's backtrack toward the bottom part, and then we're going to go through the fork all the way on the left side here, and that will take us down into a swamp. We're going to grab all of the items on the ground here as we move our way forward. Let's now keep going up toward the top section here, and we're able to rejoin the main path. We'll go forward and stick a little bit toward the right so that we can get the items down in this area. I noticed that my health was getting a little bit low, so I can use the daze spell from my seeker to get everyone's health back up to full before we go back down into these digestive juices, and we're able to get all of the items here. Keep in mind that there are a few of those green blob enemies over here, so just make sure that you attack them before they hit you, and then we're going to grab the final item in the far north section here. We'll go back down into the digestive juices a little bit, and we're going to go toward the south, stick toward the left side, and we can loop around and then go up the path. Once again, there's going to be these things that shoot out the green goo. Just avoid all of those as you make your way forward, and there's going to be a treasure chest at the back. Once you have that, we'll turn around and make our way back past all of the green goo flowers, and then we're going to rejoin the main path. If you look at the map, it's going to be the path that leads over toward the left side, north toward where the quest marker is. So once you have your bearings, let's run straight forward toward the north. We're going to then go and destroy that blob at the end, and that will open up the door and take us into the back room. So we only use up less than half of our time in this section. You really do get quite a bit of time to do this. I know it seems rushed with the constant countdown, but you should be totally fine. We then have to fight one enemy in the back. It looks pretty similar to one of the sandworms that we fought earlier, particularly the one where we fought just before we got in here, and you might think that it's also weak to the ice damage, but it is not. It will actually absorb it and it will heal itself, so instead we're going to use Cyclo on it, and that's going to do quite a bit of damage. With our warrior, you could use critical strike going for that critical hit, but I don't like the chance of potentially missing, so instead I'll use Slicer for some really good damage, and I happen to get a critical hit as well. It is weak to the lightning element, however, so use Conde and you're able to do some good damage and hit its weakness, and then one more Cyclo is going to do lots more to him. Follow that up with another Slicer, and this guy is almost dead on our very first turn. He hangs in there with just a little bit, and he's going to summon in some friends, but luckily that wastes his turn, and now we can finish off him and the other two on our next turn. We'll use Conde again just to finish him off, and now we just have to get rid of the two things he spawned in, in, we can use the synthesis skill Cyclo to do medium wind-based damage to both of these enemies. It should be more than enough to finish them off and give us one more synthesis skill usage toward that trophy. Remember, we have to use 50 different synthesis skills throughout the playthrough. Once that's done, we do get our protagonist up to level 22. I get 1 point into strength automatically, and I'm going to put 1 into magic just to keep that stat going strong. And then after that, we're going to get some more cutscenes, and we're going to find ourselves outside of another dungeon right away. So it does tell us that there's bad weather in this area from the sand flash, and that will have an impact on the battles going in here. Starting off, there is going to be a man over here, a merchant. If you want to purchase anything from him, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, just run straight forward down the path and you'll go into the next dungeon.
So we bring the fight to that.
This dungeon is very short and easy. It's basically just a story dungeon. Let's go forward until we get some cutscenes, and then we're going to turn around and go back the way we came. We'll see that there's some green moth enemies in the back. We want to go and take those guys out first. We'll initiate squad battle, and we'll get a notice about what fighting in bad weather actually means. The enemies that we fight here will be stronger. We do not get a bonus turn when we hit their weakness, but they do give us a lot better rewards for defeating them. Luckily, everything down here will die from the Psych synthesis skill, so go ahead and use that with your Seeker, and these guys will all go down very simply. That's all you have to do for fighting the moths in this area, and they're pretty much the only enemy that you'll encounter down in this dungeon. So once again, very quick and easy to blast your way through these fights. Now we'll grab this item and we're going to go back to the main path and start working our way toward the right hand side. We'll take out this moth enemy over here using that same Psych tactic. There is an item hidden in these bones here. I happened to miss it. You can't come back to this area either, so make sure you grab that. Luckily it wasn't important, just something that you can sell for a little bit of extra reeve. Keep going along the path, grabbing the items on the side. There's some more moths over here that we can take out with Psych. Grab the items and then keep on heading toward the north and then toward the east along the path. There is going to be a red Elementa down the path here, so take him out using the Blizz spells and then grab the item just past him. We're going to keep going down the path. There's once again going to be some things that we can break, and then some more moths up ahead. Defeat all of those and then move forward toward the north. One more item is up ahead here. We'll grab that, and then we can jump down to the lower level, and then we can jump down again. You want to look for the grassy parts that will tell you where you need to jump from. Alright, there's some spoiler stuff here, so I invite you to pause the video if you want to as we skip the story, and we'll resume in just a few moments when we get into a fight. Okay, here's a fight against Heismay. He likes to begin by using clone art, which creates copies of himself. You'll notice that only one of those enemies has a shadow. That's how you know which is the real one. If you hit one of the ones that is not the shadow, it's going to basically block the attack, and then your turn is over. So you don't do that, only attack the one with the shadow. And if you do that properly, all the other ones will vanish. And now we just have to keep using our strongest attacks to keep hurting him. He does like to also use things that can lower your accuracy, just making it harder to hit the real him. But just use your strongest attacks, attacking the one with the shadow the whole time, and you're able to defeat him pretty easily. The one with the shadow does change as well. It just happened to be the same one each time in this battle, but you do want to pay attention to that because hitting the wrong one can have some pretty bad consequences for you. You do not have to deplete his health all the way, you just have to get it down most of the way, and then you're going to get a cutscene, and then that will all be over. After some more cutscenes, you'll find yourself in this tent. Go forward and interact with everything that has the green sparkle on it. There's going to be a small jar and a cloth-wrapped package. There's going to be an item over here, the Royal Knight's insignia, and then in the back corner, there's going to be another item, and that is the child's letter. Once you read all of that, you'll have some choices in the dialogue, and it does matter a little bit. We're going to say there's a lot of cloth, which is option 1. And then after that, they'll talk about it for a little bit. You'll get another choice in your dialogue, and you're going to choose the first option again, saying to dampen noise. Some more cutscenes are going to play out, and then you're going to be once again into a fight with Heismay. It is exactly the same as before. All you have to do is to keep attacking the Heismay that has the shadow, and you'll be just fine. Use your strongest attacks, and there's nothing more to say about this, so I'm really just going to let this fight play out. It should only take a couple minutes to get through this. You don't have to worry about healing or anything. You should be just fine.
So, you think yourself equal to a huge leap's agility? A blunder. Let us clean up this mess.
Burn!
I have my method. Slash!
Captain, they've slowed you down.
Vitus power. I'll cut through.
Now, what I call upon royal power within. I'll cut you down.
You gotta aim better than that.
Is that all?
Captain, they've slowed you down.
Join with me! No, not let justice prevail! Oh, bolts of lightning!
Let's stay calm. Seeker. Hat. Still here?
Stroll, your speed's
Warrior!
down. You gotta aim better than that.
This should work.
All these copies. I wonder if there's some way to tell them apart.
Maze! Burst forth!
How
What's
disappointing.
going on? Where'd he go?
How about this?
So
My
heavy.
strength!
I have my method.
The audacity!
Hulkenberg's moving slower.
Come forth, royal soul. A tough
I
one.
shall fight as the noble hack and slash!
You gotta aim better than that.
'Tis best you. I show no mercy.
Wait a second. Something's
Maze!
off. That copy doesn't have
Oh,
a...
bolts of lightning!
But how? Then my fight ends here.
Alright, and that wraps up that fight. There's going to be a lot more story cutscene stuff, and then we're going to find ourselves back in town on the night of July 3rd. All we have to do is to turn toward the left and go into the guest room. If you haven't gotten the gold beetle from the vase on the table, make sure you interact with that and then go to sleep. Once again, there's a lot of story and spoiler stuff, so pause the video if you want to, and then we'll keep going once we get control of our character once again. Once we're in control of our character on the night of July 4th, we're going to hop onto our sword, and then we're going to go over toward the west, following the path to this back area, where we can go forward and interact with this rotting waterway, and we're going to choose to spend our night down here. So once we confirm that we want to go down in there, we're going to actually jump down the well. Once you land in the bottom, we're going to proceed forward, that's north along the pathway, and then we're going to grab the item in the back left corner behind these urns. You can smash them and grab the item. Now we're just going to run over toward the east, all the way down the hallway until we get to the end when a big cutscene plays out. It is kind of a spoiler thing, so I invite you to pause it once again and resume when the battle begins. We find ourselves in a fight with a few of these Hellhound Diabundos. What we can do is we can begin the battle with a new synthesis skill called Mamudo. It will do decent darkness-based damage to all of the enemies. Their real weakness is fire and ice, so go ahead and use that if you want to make this a lot simpler. I'll just use the Seeker to hit with the Blizz spell, and then I can use Blizz with my Warrior. That'll do some decent damage to them as well. Might not be enough to to kill them because the warrior focuses on physical attack and not magic, but our mage certainly is strong enough to take out the other enemy. And now we can use another one of the basic archetype skills with Heismay. This is Dark Sword, and it can not only damage an enemy but cause them to forget the ability to use any of their skills. So that's a very good thing that not only does good damage but also causes status effects against the enemy. Our protagonist got up to level 23. We get 1 point that I want to put into magic. This is also where I got the Seeker to get up to the max rank of 20, giving us 20 more HP permanently. More and more cutscenes play out at this point that I'm skipping, and we find ourselves back in the tavern on the night of July 4th. We'll go into the guest room once again, and this is another good opportunity to use that vase, try to get that gold beetle if you haven't done that yet, and if you have it, then just go and rest in bed. Overnight, you're going to form a new follower bond with Heismay, and this is rank 1 with him, and we get access to a new archetype. This is the Thief archetype, which is the one that he uses. It's found on the lower portion of the archetype tree. It's now the afternoon of July 5th, and there's a lot to do today, so let's run over toward the right side and talk to the recruiter dispatcher. He's got a new bounty for us, so we'll choose our bounty target. This time it's Alpha Rockworm Valmo, Monstrous Man-Eater. That will start a new bounty quest called the Man-Eater in the Mine. And it's found in the aptly named Man-Eater's Grotto, which is found a little bit toward the east of where we currently are. After accepting that new bounty, we're going to fast travel back to the Gauntlet Runner.
All right then. Let's head there right away.
Now let's go forward to the round table just in front of us, and we're going to select a new destination to go to. This time when we pull up the route map, we're going to go a little bit toward the east, and we're going to go halfway between here and the Man-Eater's Grotto. It's going to be the town of Comero. So let's go ahead and select this as our destination. It's only going to take 1 day to get there, so we can get there nice and speedily. As the Gauntlet Runner is moving, it is a day ending in 5, so let's go over to the toilet and we're going to get a permanent +1 bonus to our luck stat. Now let's go across the hall and get our daily supply of cooking ingredients. This time I got some Badoo meat and some red grass. Now let's turn toward the right and go past the kitchen. We're going to go into the room with the bookshelf, so let's go ahead and select that. We're going to do a little bit of reading for the rest of the afternoon, and we're going to choose Pride and Persuasion. This will help us to increase our Eloquence Royal Virtue score. While you're reading, Gallica is going to ask you a question. The correct answer to her question is the second option, to gain the upper hand. So select that one and you'll get the maximum score for your eloquence, which is going to be 4 additional points toward that royal virtue. We will then automatically arrive in the town of Comero. We can't run around here, but there's still a few things that we can do. We will automatically get a new item called Glass Ornament, and we will get another new item called Inventor's Journal. These two things will allow us to automatically complete the quest called Providing a Spark with Neuras, and that will allow us to get him as a new follower. We're now rank 1 with him, allowing us to study the Gunner archetype. This is a new good archetype to learn, and it is important because studying this will also allow us to rank up our bond with more in academia. We then get a new quest called Relic Search Inventor's Request. This allows us to get another rank with Neuras when we collect the relic that he's looking for and give it to him. We will still be in the town of Comero at this point, and what we're going to do is to choose to sell off the items that we have that are treasures. So let's go ahead and get about 10,000 more reeve just for that. And then we want to go into the buy menu, and there's a few things that we can buy. We want to get a couple of these Orgo sugars, so just buy until you have 5 or 6 of them. And then go over toward the right, and you're going to want to buy the Practical Pigeon Parcel. This allows us to complete a quest. So buying this for 400 reeve is all that we need to do to complete a quest back in Martira. And once you're done with your shopping trip, we'll select to go back to base, and that will close out the remainder of the day and bring us to nighttime. It's now nighttime on July 5th, and because we did a very short trip and did not go into a dungeon, we still have some free time. So let's go ahead and leave the tavern where we start, and we'll go back out into the main square. From here, we're going to go around the fence and over to the right-hand side because there is a quest that we can turn in when we go over and talk to the Gloomy Youth. This will allow us to automatically complete the Hatching a Plan quest because we picked up that practical pigeon parcel in Comero. It's still Idols Day, which is the day that we get good discounts on things in stores, so we're going to run over toward the north and go into the next screen where all the shops are. Now we want to go into our menu and go to the archetype tree. Let's choose the protagonist, and there are 2 new archetypes we want to study. We're going to study the Thief archetype for a total of 1500 mag, and then once we learn this one, we're going to move on to the second one, which is going to be the Gunner archetype that we just got from Neuras. It's located in the upper left corner, and studying this one is going to cost us another 1500 mag. So then once you've successfully studied both the Thief and the Gunner, what we want to do is to force learning some new levels with our other characters and their archetypes. Let's go back to the main menu and then to item. If you press up, it'll jump to the bottom of the list and you can select this Hero's Leaf of Light. This item will automatically give one archetype 1000 archetype experience. So we'll choose Hulkenberg and then the Merchant, giving her a lot of experience for that archetype, allowing it to level up a bit. And then keep giving her some Hero's Fruits until she gets up to rank 15 with the Merchant archetype. And then you can stop at that point. So now that we have a Merchant up to rank 15, we're going to back out of this menu and go back to the archetype tree because we're going to switch up Hulkenberg's archetype. We're going to now select the archetype called Magic Knight. It's the upgraded version of her normal knight. It does cost a lot more mag at 8,100, but it's definitely worth it because we're able to get a much more powerful archetype for her. So now that we've studied that, we're going to equip it with all of the best gear, and we're going to go back out to the main menu and do the same process again, this time with Stroll. We'll choose the Hero's Fruit and then select Stroll. We want to give him enough experience with the Warrior archetype to get it all the way up to its max rank of 20. If you run out of the Hero's Fruit, you can switch over to Hero's Incense. They only give 100 archetype experience, but it will be enough to get him to that master rank of rank 20. That gives us a permanent +2 to our strength stat with Stroll, and now we're able to give him another archetype as well. So let's go back to the archetype tree with him, and we're going to select his upgraded version of his Warrior archetype. This is called the Sword Master. It's going to cost 7,200 mag, and that will be a nice upgrade for him. This one focuses more on attacks that hit all the enemies with slash attacks instead of just single targets. And then we're going to go over to the protagonist, and if we look at his upgraded version of the Seeker, we can't learn it yet because we don't have rank 3 with more, but we'll get that very soon. So instead, I'm just going to equip that Seeker archetype on him so that we know that we have the best equipment available for its upgraded form, and we're going to work on that now. Let's go forward, and because it's Idols Day, we'll get good discounts. We'll start by going over to the weapon shop, and we're going to talk to the shopkeeper. From the shopkeeper's menu, we're going to go down to the appraise option, and we're going to appraise all of the weapons, equipment, and accessories that we've collected from all of these dungeons so far. So go through the list, appraise them all, and that way when we go to equip the best things available to us, we know that we have the best selection without having to buy something first. We're just trying to save some money here. Now we're going to go into our equipment option, and we're going to choose every character. We're going to select the strongest option and then go through all of them to equip the strongest equipment for each of them. This does not change their accessory on the bottom line of their equipment. We'll do that a little bit later on. For right now, we're only focusing on their main weapon and their armors. Now that everyone's been properly outfitted with the strongest equipment available, we'll go into the weapon shop and choose the buy option, and we want to purchase the upgrades to our current archetype. So I'm going to buy this Partisan Spear and give that to Hulkenberg. We can scroll down a little bit further and find the Sandglass Katana for Heismay. Let's buy that and equip it to him. There are a couple interesting options too that are a little bit later on down the list. There's an Abacus for the Merchant. There's also the Leader's Semaphore, which is a good weapon for an archetype that we do not have available to us yet. So if you feel like it, you can purchase that in anticipation for that. We will be using it for a while, so you can buy it if you want to, but I'm going to skip it for now. Once we're done in the weapon shop, we're going to go next door and go into the armor shop so that we can see if we can upgrade any of our defensive capabilities. So let's talk to the KG shopkeep and then go to the buy option. We're going to look at the different armors that are available to us. It looks like the Damascus vest is going to be a little bit better for our protagonist, and the Recluse's clothes is going to be good for one of our party members. You can only purchase one of them. I'm going to give it to Heismay so that he can increase his evasive movements. After that, we're going to buy a Damascus vest for the protagonist and equip that on him. Now let's go over to the gear option, and we're going to purchase these Brave Guards, and we're going to equip them onto Stroll. They're a little bit better for his defense, and it also halves the damage received from an enemy ambush. So go ahead and purchase this one, and then equip it to Stroll. That's all that we want to buy as far as the gear goes. Everything else is a downgrade for us. And now we're going to head back outside. That's it for our Idols Day shopping trip. We saved a lot of money and we got a lot more powerful. Now let's go forward and down the stairs so that we can go back to the main plaza area. We want to go straight ahead until we run into Morris Phantom. We'll talk to him and then we'll be transported over to Academia. Let's go forward and talk to Moore, and we're actually going to get 2 separate ranks from him and we'll complete his quests. The first quest that we complete is Moore's Task Chapter 1 Ordeal because we studied the Gunner archetype, and that gives us 4 more points toward our Imagination Royal Virtue. After that, we're going to get a Bond rank upgrade, and we're going to be rank 3 with him, allowing us to now study the Magic Seeker. That's the upgraded version of the Seeker archetype that we currently have equipped and mastered. After some more little cutscenes, we'll get another quest start called Moore's Task Chapter 2 Solitude. We need to raise the Merchant archetype up to rank 15, so we automatically complete that quest, and we get 4 more points into Imagination, as well as upgrading Moore's Follower rank to level 4, which will then give us the Ability Forecast ability so that we can preview all abilities for followers from the main menu. And this starts another quest called Moore's Task Chapter 3 Drifting, where we need to study a total of 15 different archetypes. I believe that we're up to about 13 at this point as soon as we study the Magic Seeker. So let's go ahead and go to the Protagonist archetype tree. We'll study this one for 7,200 mag. We've got more than enough to purchase all of this. And then we're going to have this one equipped with all of the best equipment that we just got from the shops. Now let's inherit some skills from our other archetypes. On our new Magic Seeker, we're going to inherit 2 skills. We'll take Bot as well as Homo, so that he has access to casting fire magic as well as light magic, in addition to the wind magic that he already has access to. On Stroll, we're going to go down to this Sword Master, and we're going to inherit 2 skills as well. Let's take Bot as well as Blizza. Now let's go over to Hulkenberg, and we're going to select her Magic Knight, and we'll inherit the 1 skill that we can. I'm going to choose Conde so that I can hit enemies that are weak to lightning, and that will just diversify my portfolio of damage types that I can deal. And finally, Heismay does not have any skills that we can inherit because we haven't learned any from a different archetype, so we'll leave his blank for right now. Let's go to equipment, and like I said before, we haven't changed our accessories at all, so let's do that for all of our party members. For our protagonist, I'm going to switch out the Traveler's Charm, and instead I'm going to give him the Crescent Medal, which will give me a little bit of MP back every turn in battle. I'm going to give Stroll the Glow Igniter so that he can do light-based damage, and I'm going to do the same thing to Hulkenberg, give her a Glow Igniter so that she can do light damage. And finally, Heismay gets the Twinkling Crystal, raising all of my stats by +2. And that's it for all of our equipment and setup for battle. Let's go ahead and leave Academia out the doors on the right side of the screen.
You'll come again, won't you?
Back in town, it's still nighttime and we can still do an activity. Let's open up the follower menu by hitting that left directional button and scroll down until we can see that Brigitta wants to spend time with us. We will go ahead and choose to talk to her. We'll automatically teleport directly to her, and now we can talk to her, choosing to spend the night having a conversation with her. Again, the choices don't matter at all, and when you're done with that, you're going to get a new rank up for her follower rank, getting us to rank 4. We get Science Merit, increasing the number of skills we can inherit to the Merchant archetype by 3, and we also get Merchant's Finest so that we can purchase new equipment from her shop, but we won't be doing that ever. It's now going to be July 6th in the afternoon. The game will tell us that Maria wants to spend time with us, but we're not going to do that just yet. Instead, we're going to hop on our sword and we're going to go left all the way out the westernmost exit. This will take us to Kettle Rock Road. From here, we're going to go over toward the left and enter the place that has that well going down into the rotting waterway. We want to go down there again because we're going to complete this entire dungeon. Thankfully, this is a much shorter dungeon than the Regolith Grand Cathedral, and we shouldn't have too much of a problem with our MP usage, especially because we can basically hit everything's weakness with our wide array of types of attacks. Let's move forward and then over toward the right side. We're going to run all the way down this hallway again until we get into another cutscene. I'm going to skip that for spoiler reasons and then keep on running down to the hallway's end. From here, we'll turn toward the left and there's going to be a device on our right side. Let's go ahead and flip this switch. That's going to lower the platform in front of us. That also drains a little bit of water in the area and provides us a bridge over to the next section. We'll go straight across and there will be some enemies that pop out. You want to attack them early on and then initiate squad-based battle. They are pretty aggressive and will attack you, and that's not good. These guys are weak to 2 different elements. The first one is going to be darkness, so you can have Heismay use his Mudo spell to quickly eliminate them. Their other weakness is lightning, so you can use Conde as well from Hulkenberg, and that will work just as well. Well, that was a single enemy. Now let's look at what it is if you have to fight 2 of them at the same time. Just use the synthesis skill with Heismay called Mamudo. That should be enough to eliminate both of these enemies at the same time if you get that initial ambush damage. And there you go, whether there's 1 or 2 of them, they each should go down in just 1 attack. After that, we're going to go into this little cubby and we're going to grab the item here and destroy the 2 dogs. Now we'll go back outside, hug this right wall, and go into the next cubby. There's going to be another dog to eliminate, and you can grab the item. We'll go back out into the main area and watch out because there's going to be another big reptile that jumps out of the water. We're going to fight him, and this time I'll show you that yes, indeed, they are weak to the lightning element. So I'm just going to skip turns until I get over to Hulkenberg. At this point, because I have a bunch of new archetypes equipped, I do get notices that I have new synthesis skills unlocking. We'll be using those in a little bit, just trying to get more and more, adding up to the 50 unique synthesis skills that we use in the one playthrough. Alright, well, we've eliminated all of those guys. Now what we're going to do is to continue on forward. We're going to go over toward the north, taking out these groups of mods here. Luckily, they all go down in just 1 hit. And there will be another reptile that jumps out. We'll eliminate him using the same tactics, and then we can take out the dogs and other enemies as well. Let's grab this 1 item behind the urn and then go across the bridge. We want to go over toward the left side first and operate this switch so that we will lower another platform down. This is just a shortcut back to the beginning if you ever need it. We probably won't need it though, but it's good just to have that shortcut unlocked. Now we're going to keep going north for a little while until we get a shortcut scene, and then we're going to go north a little bit further to grab this item. We'll start heading toward the west, going through this tunnel all the way toward the end, and then we're going to eliminate the moths on the other side. From here, let's start heading toward the north, and then we're going to take out some dogs. One of those large reptiles jumped out of the water, so be careful, make sure you dodge out of the way of their attacks, and then attack them until you can initiate squad-based combat and eliminate them. At this point, I did get a new drop called a Damascus Spear. That's definitely an upgrade to Hulkenberg's weapon. So even though I just bought one, this is an upgrade to that. That raises her attack from 144 to 171. We'll go forward and we'll see that there's another one of those Homo enemies that we fought in the giant sandworm's belly. We're going to get the initial attack on them, doing critical damage as well as stunning them for the first round. Now what we're going to do is have Heismay use Phantom Tracer. It's another synthesis skill that he has available to him, and that will do a lot of damage and probably finish off one of them. Now they're just the other one. They are weak to fire, so go ahead and use that bot spell, and then we're going to hit them for their weakness. On the protagonist, we can either hit him with bot, or we have another synthesis available to us called Fireblade Rider that deals extreme fire damage to one enemy. So let's go ahead and use that one instead, and that will definitely be enough to finish off the last remaining enemy of this fight. Yep, that's definitely pretty powerful. We'll get our rewards and we'll see that Heismay does get his Thief archetype ranked up to rank 7, and that will teach him a new ability called Plunder Life, allowing us to drain HP from one enemy to restore our own. That's quite powerful. We'll keep going north, and then we're going to grab this item in the back corner, then go across the bridge, eliminating the reptiles that jump out of the water. After we get across the bridge, we're going to turn toward the left and take out the whole swarm of moths that come down from the ceiling.
That was well done.
There they are.
After that, we're going to keep going south across this bridge, and we're going to lock on to the red Elementa and keep attacking him until we can initiate squad-based combat. Let's take him out using some of our new skills. Heismay can do decent damage with his archetype ability called Dark Sword. It's not enough to hit his weakness or anything, but it's good enough for now. I'm going to hit his weakness with the Blizz spell from Stroll, and I don't have a Blizz with the protagonist, but I do have Cyclo, so let's go ahead and use that. It will be enough to finish him off, and because this is the 10th element I've killed, I get the Stray Elements trophy or achievement at this time.
Keep moving.
Wish every fight was that easy.
It seems that all of our equipped archetypes will level up, and Stroll made it to rank 3, teaching him Slash Dodge, a good passive ability that increases our evasion against slash attacks. We're going to go ahead and clear out all the other enemies in this area, and then we're going to go all the way toward the south corner so that we can grab the item in the corner behind those urns. And now we're going to go through the doors over toward the west. There is going to be another Homo enemy here. Just be careful not to get ambushed by him, and we'll take him out using the same strategies as before. We're going to grab the weapon, that's the glowing item there, and then open up the treasure chest on the ground.
Not bad.
Now let's backtrack out toward the east so that we can join the main hallway, and then we're going to go north across the bridge and stick toward the left side to go into this left room. There's going to be one item that you can pick up here behind these urns, and then go all the way to the north side of this room. There's going to be another treasure chest here, but this is a trapped treasure chest. It has a monster inside, but we've dealt with these guys before. With Heismay's turn, I'm going to use the archetype ability called Dark Sword. It'll do some decent damage, but I'm trying to hit him with the Forget status effect so that he can't use his abilities against us. It didn't work, but that's okay. We'll have Stroll use Mage Light to do light-based damage, and the protagonist can use Homo. Hulkenberg also has the ability to cast Mage Light to hit him for his weakness again. Now we're going to have Heismay use Dark Sword again, just trying to hit that Forget status effect. And now we can use Mage Light again with Stroll. And finally, one more Homo with the protagonist. And there you go, we took him out in just one turn without him getting to attack us, so we get an unscathed triumph, boosting our rewards, and it was enough to get all of our archetypes to rank up again. The Magic Seeker got to rank 4 and learned Dayama so that we can do medium healing to one party member. We also get the Prowler's Pipe from the chest, increasing the success rate of stealing skills, and that's really important for getting our next trophy. So let's go into our equipment, down to Heismay, go to his accessory. We're going to take off the Twinkling Crystal, and instead we're going to put on that Prowler's Pipe so that we can steal more easily. Now let's head south until we get to the end of the room and then turn left to go back to the main hallway. We want to run north, and then to the right of the stairs there's going to be another item behind these urns. Let's grab that and then go up the stairs. There's going to be a Magel Hollow on our left side. I'm just going to run in and save the game real quick. I'm going to skip that whole process though, and then we're going to come back out of the room immediately. We'll turn toward the left and then grab this item on the ground before proceeding forward into this hallway, and when we get to the end there's going to be some more cutscenes. We're just going to skip all of that, and then what we want to do is to turn around and grab the item at the end of the cubby that we're in. We want to be a little bit careful not to be seen by the large monster here. We just want to quickly run over to the next cubby, grab the item, and then run back outside and over toward the left, grabbing the item on the way. Now keep running up the stairs all the way to where the quest marker is. There's going to be some more cutscenes, and then you'll be in control of yourself once again. Grab the item just in front of you and to the right, and then turn left and run north until you can attack these tooth enemies. Starting off, one of them is very weak, so I'll just use a normal attack from Heismay to eliminate one. You can hit a weakness by using the Blizz spell. They are weak to the ice element, and they're also weak to piercing. I'm going to save a little bit of MP with the protagonist. I'm just going to use a normal attack, and then I can follow that up with a normal attack from Hulkenberg. She has a piercing weapon, so she's able to take them out very easily. And that's all there is to that fight. Just hit them with the ice element and piercing, and they should go down really quickly. We'll continue forward, grabbing the item, and then keep going up. There's another enemy in front of you. Take them out the same way and grab the item at the top of this area. There's another lizard blocking our path toward the east, so we'll take him out quickly, and then we're going to get our protagonist up to level 24. I'm going to give 1 extra point to endurance to keep it tied with agility. Let's keep going east. There's going to be a lizard that jumps out of the water on our right, so we'll take him out, and those tooth enemies are now considered weak enemies so that we can take them out without fighting them in squad-based combat. Another lizard jumped out at us, so we defeated him, and that got us enough archetype experience to get Hulkenberg up to rank 5 with her Magic Knight. That taught us Metaline. It's weak HP recovery for all allies in the same row as us in combat. Now we're going to go over toward the right side, entering the east room. There's going to be a treasure chest over here that is also going to be a monster. So let's go ahead and open it up, and I want to show you kind of a cool trick. Heismay usually goes first in battle, and he has that accessory that allows him to steal more easily. So let's try to steal from this guy. If it doesn't work out the first time, don't worry about it, because all we have to do is retry the battle from the beginning. It will be Heismay's turn again. Keep trying to steal from him or retrying until you get a successful steal, at which point you'll get the "what's yours is mine" trophy or achievement. And then after that, we're going to take him out by hitting him with Mage Light, and then when it's the protagonist's turn, we're going to use a new synthesis ability called Horse-Drawn Carnage. It'll do quite a bit of damage to this guy. Now we're going to use Mage Light with Hulkenberg. And back to Heismay's turn. Let's go ahead and use Dark Sword against him. He will get to attack us, but it's not a big deal. If he goes to attack Heismay, he'll probably miss, and that will end his turn. Now we'll just finish up using Mage Light, and that fight will be over. We pulled off another unscathed triumph, giving us bonus rewards. Heismay's Thief made it to rank 11, teaching him Plunder Magic, allowing us to drain MP from one enemy to restore our own. It doesn't do a whole lot, however, but it is better than nothing. After all that, we're going to turn and go toward the south side of the room. There's going to be a couple more of these teeth enemies that we can take out without squad-based combat now, and we can open up this treasure chest, which is going to be safe, no monsters inside it.
Incredible.
We've gotten our trophy for stealing, and now we can take off the Prowler's Pipe from Heismay, and instead we're going to equip that Twinkling Crystal instead to give him that +2 to all of his stats. Now let's keep going toward the north and then over toward the west. There's going to be a few more enemies around here that we can eliminate, and then we're going to keep on heading toward the west. We can eliminate this red Elementa, and then we're going to take out another one of the reptiles. There is an item over toward the left side behind this urn, so grab that, and then we're going to go forward a little bit toward the north, grabbing this item, and then we can go up the stairs. There's going to be a circle of teeth. We can just take all of these guys out quickly and then grab the item that they're dancing around. From here, we're going to proceed toward the north because we've collected everything in the southern end of this area. There's going to be another one of the reptiles that jump out of the water. Be careful not to let them attack you, and then take them out. Let's go toward the north. There's going to be another cutscene, and we have to avoid the large enemy in this area again. We're going to grab the item in the cubby that we're in, then go over toward the west, going into the next cubby, and grab the treasure chest back in the back. After that, we're going to keep going to the main hallway and then over toward the left side. We'll grab the item in the corner and then start proceeding north. We want to stick toward the left side to go over and grab the item in the back. And then we're going to go forward and into the cubby on our left to grab the last item here. Finally, we're just going to wait until the enemy is not looking toward us, and then we're going to run out through the hallways all the way up the stairs on the far side to where the quest marker is, and that will complete this section. From here, let's go forward and then over toward the left, run forward and go through the doors toward where the quest marker is. That will take us into the old reservoir. Let's go forward until we get into another cutscene. I'm just going to skip that, and then we want to go toward our left side, interact with the switch to drop the platform in front of us. We're going to then turn toward the right and start running toward the north. We want to go to the far corner of this area so that we can grab the item here, then circle around it toward the east and then south, interact with this switch to lower the platform in front of us again. We get a cutscene showing that the water is beginning to drain in this area. Once we lower all the platforms, it will drain all the way. Let's go across the bridge, grabbing this item, and there's going to be a new human enemy over here. Let's try to get the ambush on him, and then initiate squad-based combat. This new enemy, Homo is weak to lightning, so we can use that to our advantage. I'm just going to use Dark Sword against one of the teeth that accompany it to take it down, and now I can use the Blizz spell with Stroll to take out the other tooth that is weak to the ice element.
Be frozen! Let's wrap this up.
Now we're going to use the protagonist to cast Cyclo. It deals medium wind damage. It's neutral to it, but it does a lot of damage. And then we can use Conde to hit its weakness with Hulkenberg as her magic knight, and that enemy will be eliminated and we'll be done with the fight.
Great work, everyone.
There's no way I'm stopping.
Ever greater heights.
We made short work.
There's still an item near us, so let's grab that, and we can ignore the switch on the lower level for now. Instead, we're going to head up the stairs nearby and take out the group of teeth at the top. Let's keep following this path around, going across this bridge and over to the other side. There's going to be another one of those large enemies here. We'll take them out, and then we're going to grab the other items in this area around toward the left side, and we can then go and interact with this switch to flip it, and then that's going to lower the platform ahead of us. Now we're going to backtrack the way that we came. We did run past another item. It's on our left side, so let's grab that and then go across the bridge and back downstairs. If we had flipped the switch on the lower level, we could not make it to the other side because that does act as the bridge at the top level. So now we'll flip the switch, lower the platform, and now we can run across the lower side, and that will take us to the back section. The water level keeps draining, and that means that we're getting close to the end.
Somehow
Let's keep running forward. There's going to be another large enemy in front of us, so take care of him. And then what we want to do is to grab the items behind us that we just ran past. So grab these ones by the urn, and there's another one in the far northeastern corner. Now let's keep heading over toward the west, and we're going to run into a dead end, but at the northern end there's going to be a treasure chest, so let's open that up. Now we'll turn around and backtrack all the way to the southern area, and then we're going to be back kind of where we started. We want to go over toward the west side, and then we will go across the bridge that we opened up before we ran over toward the east side. Now on the west side of the room, there's a bunch of teeth that we can take out very quickly, and there's also going to be an item in this main area. So eliminate all the teeth and then grab the item before continuing to head toward the south. Keep going down and grab this item in the corner. And now we're going to go up the nearby stairs. At the top is going to be an item and another one of these large enemies. We'll take them out and then we'll continue on from here.
Looks like it's not safe yet.
Let's go back and grab this red Elementa. We'll eliminate him just for the experience. Stroll Swordmaster did rank up to rank 8, and that teaches him the new ability Rising Slash, dealing medium slash damage to all enemies. We'll grab the item in the corner, and then we want to continue on toward the north. We're going to go down the stairs all the way to the bottom part, eliminate the 2 enemies on the left side around the stairs here. They're just these weak teeth, and then keep going over toward the back part here toward the south. We're going to take out the enemies, grab the item, and there's going to be another switch that we can interact with on the southern end of this little area. Once that platform is lowered, there's only one more that we need to interact with, and that's going to be on the east side of this platform. So interact with that. That's going to lower the pathway in front of us, taking us to where that other treasure chest was that we already opened. And we're going to get a series of cutscenes here. Once that's all done, we'll be in control of the character one more time, and we'll be able to go down the ladder just to the south of where we begin. So let's head down here. In the bottom portion, there's going to be some enemies that are pretty easy to take out. These little green enemies should go down in one hit. It might take a little bit more effort to take out the larger ones, but 2 hits should be enough to kill them without us having to go into squad-based combat. Keep running around this area, eliminating all of the enemies and grabbing all the items. Just watch out because there is a Homo enemy down here. They're a lot tougher than the other guys. They will require a squad-based combat most likely, but remember, hit them with those fire attacks. Then just keep running around, slaying all the enemies and collecting all the items off the ground. Just refer to your mini-map for the blue dots and collect all of those things.
Right there.
And then once everything is dead, there is a treasure chest toward the south of this area. Be careful though, because it is a trapped box and you'll have to fight. It's very easy though. Once again, just use those light-based attacks and your stronger synthesis abilities, and you'll be able to win this fight no problem. If you have any more things to collect in this area, any more of those blue dots on your mini-map, just run around and collect them all before going toward the north and going up the ladder. Once you get to the top, run forward, and there's going to be a Magla Hollow on your left side. You can run in there and just save the game like I'm going to do, and then head back out. Now let's turn left and run forward. You'll see that there's a couple trance crystals in this area. They will keep spawning enemies, so if you want to gain some MP back as well as get some more experience, feel free to equip that mage archetype and keep killing things here to farm some MP back. I'm not going to do that, however, because I really don't want to become over leveled, so what I'm just going to do is to attack that trance crystal in the lower portion. We'll destroy it, and then we'll move on to the top part and destroy that trance crystal.
And that's the end of that.
Be very careful if you're fighting these things up close. If they glow purple, they can explode and do a lot of damage to you. I almost died there. I only have 9 health left, so be very careful. At least I got to the point where I'm able to take out those Homo enemies without having to go into squad-based combat anymore. I can use Diama to refill my health pretty easily, and now let's go take out those Homo There's a couple more of these blue items in the area. Go around, collect those, and then we're going to go a little bit toward the south because there is a path that extends over toward the east. Once you go across this bridge, look around and you'll see there's a big pile of wood on the east side by where the quest marker is. There is a crawl space here that you can use to crawl through, and then you'll keep going over toward the side. There's going to be some more cutscenes here, and then you're going to have to run toward the camera. All you have to do is make it to the other side. You can hit a box or so, it doesn't really matter. It only slows you down a little bit. Just don't get caught by the big monster. Make your way all the way to the other side and you'll be able to run forward again. There is another Magla Hollow here, and I'm getting pretty low on MP, so I'm just going to take a moment to make sure that I'm all filled up on my health and my MP. Just use some items from your inventory and you should be all set. We do have quite a few of these Magla pills and Magla potions, so you can use those. Don't get everyone to full MP, just get them to about 50% of their MP or so. That's definitely enough. And now we can use the Magla Hollow, run inside, save the game, and then come back out. From here, we're going to turn toward the west, run up the stairs, and in through the doors. After some cutscenes, you'll be forced to fight some dogs. We should be able to take them out without going into squad-based combat, though. Once they're eliminated, a few seconds later, you'll get another cutscene and we'll be able to unlock another one of our party members here. I'm going to choose to unlock Heismay first. We'll move the contraption, open up the doors, and not only releases Heismay, but also the enemies that are next door to him. They're just some more of these weak dogs, so let's take them out as well.
There they are.
After they've been disposed of, a few seconds later, you will once again get another cutscene and we'll be able to free another one of our comrades. We can run around and grab the items that are in treasure chests and on the ground, so let's just go around and grab those things before moving on and freeing Hulkenberg from her cage.
Hey, you found something. That should come in handy. Pocket it. If it's useful, I say
Hulkenberg's cage is on the east side of the room, so let's go over there, release her and the 2 reptile monsters at the same time. But that's okay, they're the same kind of enemies that we've defeated many times down here already, and we still are able to hit both of their weaknesses. So let's go ahead and start attacking them. We're going to break this one's guard, and then break the guard of the other one before initiating that squad-based combat. Using Heismay, I'm going to have him do the Mudo attack against one of them. Not quite enough to finish him off, but that's okay. On the protagonist's turn, I can just use a normal physical attack, and that one will be eliminated. Now let's hit the other weakness with the lightning damage from Kande, and that will be the end of that fight. So we get another unscathed triumph, even though we don't have a full party with them. Our archetypes ranked up, and our Magic Seeker learned Wind Dodge, increasing our evasion against wind as a passive ability, and our Magic Knight learned Heavy Rush, dealing medium physical pierce damage to one enemy. After the cutscenes, we only have Stroll to rescue. We'll let him sit in the cage for right now because treasure always comes first. Let's grab the treasure in this spot where the 2 reptiles were hiding out, and then we're going to go rescue Stroll from his cage. He's going to be on the southern wall. And you can see there's a large chimera-like enemy in the back. He's definitely the toughest of all of them, so make sure that Stroll is the last one to be rescued so that you have your entire party to fight this tougher enemy. You can try to get the ambush on him, but he'll try to attack the whole area in front of him. Might be a little bit hard to dodge this, and he might just get the ambush on you. That's okay though, we can still definitely do good damage against him and take him out quickly. So he's using the lightning element, which is a good telltale sign that he is weak to wind damage. I'm just going to use the Phantom Tracer synthesis ability from Heismay to do a good amount of damage to begin the fight. He is resistant to fire, so don't try to use those attacks. You could use Rising Slash if you want to, that'll be a good amount of damage to him. But a key source of damage will come from the protagonist's Magic Seeker. We can use Cyclone to hit his weakness and do medium damage to him. Hulkenberg has a status ailment and can't remember how to do any of her abilities, and I'll just have Heismay use a physical attack. The enemy will then use his turn to attack, but doesn't do a lot of damage to us, and then we'll be able to finish him off on our next turn. So Stroll, once again, you can use Rising Slash if you want to, or just use a physical attack to save some MP. I'll have the protagonist use one more Cyclo just to finish him off.
What a finale! Keep your energy up, everyone!
After that, there's going to be another cutscene that plays out, and then you'll be able to explore this place in its entirety. Immediately to our left in the cage where that last enemy was is going to be one more treasure chest, so run over there and grab that. It's going to be a new weapon for Heismay called Sleepy-Eyed Katana. It will sometimes inflict the sleep status effect against enemies when you hit them with a normal physical attack. So let's go ahead and equip that quickly onto Heismay. It's also a good damage boost, raising his attack from 160 to 190. Run back to the center of the room and then start heading toward the west. On the left side is going to be a room that has something you can interact with just to learn a little bit about the story. We'll just skip that, and then we'll go across the hall and we're going to grab the item in the other room inside these urns. After that, we're going to proceed up the stairs and over toward the right, and then that will take us out into a new area.
Let's hurry.
Now from here, let's go forward and then over toward the right. Going through the doors allows us to get into another area. If we go into the doors on our right again, there's going to be a room with a treasure chest that's safe to open up with no monsters. So go ahead and do that. And there's also going to be another item in this same room. So turn around and grab the item off the floor. And now we're going to go back into the hallway, go south. This is the main hallway that goes back to the Magla Hollow. So you can use that if you want to, just to prepare before the next boss fight. Otherwise, keep going toward the west, open up these doors, and keep moving through until you get into the back room. You want to open up these doors. There's going to be some more cutscenes, and then we have to run around this area and interact with all of these green dots. So there's one over here, and then we're going to go back toward the desk in the middle. We're going to interact with this one. There's another desk over here that we can interact with, and then over toward our right there's another green dot. Once you use all of those green dots, you want to go and interact with this item on the ground to pick up the Balm of Life. And now we have to go out the western door. This is going to lead us directly into a boss fight, so make sure that you're prepared, make sure that your health is filled up, and your MP is in a decent spot. Once again, about 50% of your MP will be good enough for this fight. Even if it drags on for a little longer because the enemy does have the ability to heal in the middle of the fight, we should still have enough MP to finish the fight as long as we're close to 50% on everyone. But you do definitely want to make sure that everyone has full health just so that you're not at risk of dying. When you're ready, go ahead and open the door. There's going to be a lot of spoilery cutscenes that I'm going to skip entirely, and we'll find ourselves inside of a boss fight against a very weird enemy. This is Homo Jaluzo. She is not weak to anything. Eventually she becomes weak to pierce attacks on her eyes, but honestly, you can finish this fight before it gets to that point. We'll begin by using Phantom Tracer, and then we're going to pass the turn over to our protagonist, and we're going to use Horse-Drawn Carnage to do extreme physical strike damage against the enemy. The enemy may try to lower your defense, but luckily Heismay has good evasion, dodges the attack, and that ends the enemy's turn. We're now going to use Hulkenberg to lower the enemy's defense by one stage by using the Leap Thrust synthesis ability. And then after that, Heismay is going to use Phantom Tracer once again. It was a critical hit, allowing me to go again. I don't want to end this fight very quickly because I want to show off one more mechanic to you. So instead of using Rising Slash and pretty much ending the fight at this point, I'm just going to use a normal attack. And now with the protagonist, I don't need to do anything fancy like trying to raise my own attack stat with Tarukaja. I'm just going to use Cyclo to do a lot of damage and bring her very close to being defeated. In fact, I bet that I would have won had I used Rising Slash. She's going to keep lowering my defense, but that's okay. There is a cutscene in the middle of this fight where she gets healed up, but it's kind of a spoiler, so I skipped over that, but you can see that the enemy has a lot more health. I'm going to use Leap Thrust once again to lower the defense another stage, and then I can pass the turn with Heismay over to Stroll, and I'm going to use that Rising Slash attack, and you'll see how powerful it is. It does nearly 500 damage with just this one attack. And now it's the protagonist's turn again. We're going to use Cyclo to do a lot of damage as well. So the enemy is going to now focus on us and get ready to attack. But I have no intention of letting it actually get that attack off because I plan to finish the fight in just this one more turn. I can go ahead and use Leap Thrust. I don't need to use the other synthesis abilities, even though I haven't really used them before. Now's not the time for that. I'm just going to go full offense here. Hit it with a Leap Thrust. Now it's down 3 stages of defense. I can use Dark Sword with Heismay to do a lot of damage. Now I'm going to use one more Rising Slash, and that should finish the fight. And that's how you defeat Homo Jaluzo very easily. I didn't even have to heal in that whole fight. We'll get all of our rewards, and I do get the protagonist up to level 26 at this point. Now, I didn't notice that I had 2 points available to allocate. I only put 1 into agility. I would have put the other one into strength. So if that happens to you, make sure you do that. You'll then get the Dark Truths trophy after some cutscenes that are very spoilery, and then you also get plus 4 points into courage, and then you'll get a rank up with Gallica. We're now rank 3, giving us access to a new archetype called the Wizard, and then we also get Monsterology Scholar. Enemy analysis and squad battle is now more detailed, and the Wizard is located just past the Mage. You have to be rank 3 with Gallica and have a max rank Mage in order to study the Wizard. And that will take us to July 7th in the afternoon, and this is where I'm going to end this video. I really hope that you enjoyed this part. If you did, be sure to hit that like button and also comment down below, and consider sharing this video with a friend. All of these things really help me out. In part 5, we're going to make a lot of progress in many different areas, so I hope that you'll tune in for that. I'll see you soon in part 5. Until then, thanks for watching and have a good day.